ruins of a church from the Byzantine era in the 6th century, okay, that was probably used by pilgrims who made their way from Jerusalem to Jericho. And also this place is identified by a place that Jesus is talking about in the New Testament. So before we're going to get there, just a minute, I'm going to just say they excavated here the ruins of a church, and the mosaic that we're sitting on is a restored and rebuilt mosaic on top of areas which are original. Okay, so you can clearly see that this area is original, over here behind me is original, but most of the mosaic that you see here is not original. Okay, but we can definitely understand the structure of the church as it used to be. You see how big it was, okay, how monumental it was. And a very important thing about churches in the land of Israel, especially in Byzantine era, which is in the early Christianity, an era which is very much affected from the Greco-Roman period that was before it, okay, when the majority of the people were pagan, and in the 4th century, gradually and slowly, Christianity became legitimate in the Roman Empire. Who was the emperor who decided it would be legitimate? Constantinus. Okay, Constantinus. And throughout the 4th century, the pagan people of the Roman era became slowly and gradually Christians. Okay, with that process going on, what happens is that a lot of institutions, religious institutions, like temples that were used by the pagan people of Roman times, suddenly these places were turned into Christian sites. Okay, so when we look at the classic pagan temples that we find here from Greco-Roman times, we find monumental buildings like that, with 3 halls which are parallel to each other, okay? And most of them are facing towards which side? East. Okay, you see that the area of the altar is facing also east. And why in pagan times it was facing east?
The sun.
The sun. What was the sun?
It was a god.
The sun was a god, okay? The sun was a superpower that was conceived as a godly power, and people were worshipping the sun, the moon, any elements of the nature that were worshipped by people in pagan times, and that they were considered to be very powerful. Okay? So what happens basically is that during the Christian era, all these pagan areas turned into Christian places. Okay? So over here there was a Christian church. It was 300 years. It was in the area where this process took place. But we see that this church, which is a Christian church, still facing towards east. Now, the minute that people have accepted Jesus as the Messiah and as God, why do they need a church that is facing east?
Because Jesus is the light of the world.
Exactly. It was much more easier to take the pagan world. It was easier to take the pagan world and to turn it into a Christian world with the main terminology. So Jesus is the light of the world that is coming from the east. It's compared to the sun that is coming from the east, and this is why the majority of the churches, especially in the land of Israel, ancient churches, but also modern churches, will face towards east. Okay? This is what we have. It's called, this kind of structure, this kind of monumental building, it's called basilica. Okay? And you will study in depth on which elements the basilical monuments have, the basilical physical buildings have, okay? But you can clearly see that it's facing towards east. By the way, why do Sunday is the holy day for Christians?
Sunday.
Okay, and Sunday was the free day for the soldiers in the Roman Empire. Sunday, the day of the sun.
This is only in English.
Okay? It's only in English, but it basically brings us an understanding that it's a part of the ancient world. Sunday, the day of the sun, okay, became the day of the light of the world, which is Jesus. Okay? So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. We're standing here in the Byzantine excavation of a church that was excavated here. Also, different facilities were found in that area, like underneath the ground, a whole huge water hole, and different elements that connected to the church here. And another thing, before we're going to get into the part of the story of Jesus, is the fact that how do the sacred geography was created in the land of Israel? The fathers of the church, the pilgrims, the very early pilgrims came over to make pilgrimage to the Holy Land, okay? They came all around the sacred geography and they wrote what they saw and what they found. So there was a pilgrim called Egeria.
Yes, he wrote about the ascension.
She comes to the land of Israel in the 80s of the 5th century, okay? And she writes down what she sees all over, okay? So the sacred geography has been created during Egeria's time, and her descriptions are very, very important for the creation of the sacred geography. And Egeria writes about this point where it's described in her writings, the place that is covered with blood, okay? And she writes about the point where Jesus is talking about in the New Testament relating to that point. So let's start, and I'm going to complete whatever is needed to be completed afterwards, okay?